Welcome to episode number 271 of the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media. Honored and pleased to be joined by one of my favorite players of all time. He was at the top of the Cleveland order of the mid-90s that made a lot of people rediscover their love of baseball. He is the former All-Star and, fingers crossed, possibly future Hall of Famer. We will get to that. Kenny Lofton, good to see you, man. How are you?
I can't complain. All good. I'm just living the dream, man. Just enjoying life right now.
Well, let me start with this. You're 57 years old. You look like you could still steal about 30 bags. What the heck are you doing that a guy like me is not? Because I look like I've been a little bit under a freeway for a while.
I have a little gray. I don't have a
you
whole
don't.
lot. But I have a little bit. I don't know. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. So maybe that's something that'll help. A lot of guys like to drink, and I just don't. So maybe that helps me a little bit. And I don't know. I just take care of myself.
If you had to steal a base at your age
Okay.
right now,
Okay.
could you do it?
Maybe not.
No.
My left leg can steal it, but my right leg can't. So I would be going around in circles like Fred Sanford. Honey, I'm coming to join you because my one leg is going, the other one stopped. So that's how I would be right now. Yeah.
How fast are you?
I'm not that fast anymore.
No.
No. Nope. I can't. Nope. It won't work.
You played till you were 40, right?
Yes. And I could have played longer, actually.
Really?
Yeah, but they tried to play me in the game, and I just felt like I hit maybe close to 300 my last year, and shoot 300 nowadays. You are like all world now. If you hit 230, you can be on the All-Star team at 230 this year.
Your last year, you split time between Texas and Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
At age 40, you hit 296 between the two teams in 136 games. Your WAR was still 2.6 as a 40-year-old, man. As a 40-year-old. Aren't you proud of that?
Yeah. I mean, again, I can say I'm proud of what I did, but I'm not sure who else looks at it that way. Everyone don't look at it the same way I look at it, and it's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
Well, we're going to dive into a lot of that because we're taping this
good.
on the Friday after the newest class just got enshrined in Cooperstown. And obviously the whole Ichiro, there's been a lot floating around on social media. And so I definitely want to talk about that. But I want to start off with my love. And the first time I was really introduced to you, it was a little trade that I think kind of flew under the radar in the early 90s when the then Indians pulled off a deal sending backup catcher Ed Taubensee to the Houston Astros along with pitcher Willie Blair for Kenny Lofton. And we heard, well, he's really fast. We're not so sure he can hit at the major league level, but he's really, really fast. And so everybody's like, oh, man, we got ourselves a Willie Mays Hayes. Like he can, he can run like Mays, but he hits like shit. So when did it all change for you where you were like, I know I belong in the big leagues?
Well, how it started, people, you're right, that Willie Mays Hayes concept, and that's kind of how they looked at it. And I was almost, in a sense, forced into that way of hitting. And a good friend of mine who's a scout of mine, Clark Christ, he and I said, Kenny, you don't have to be this Punch and Judy. You can hit the ball for, in the gaps, and you can hit the ball at the ballpark. So in the mindset for me right away, it's like, yeah, they keep saying I can just slap and use my speed because with Houston, it was on that turf.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted me to just slap it and run and get on base and try to steal after that. But I just felt like, you know what? You can drive the ball. And I took that mindset away and saying, hey, this guy can drive the ball. And I end up, driving the ball, and everything worked out for me.
So when you got to Cleveland, when you were traded there, it was bottom of the barrel in terms of franchises. we played in old Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Your
Yeah.
first year that you came up, you played there. Moved to Jacobs Field in '94, and that was kind of the renaissance of baseball in Cleveland. And for people that can't see the full shirt, this is one of the greatest lineups you will ever put together. Lofton, Vizquel, Baerga, Belle, Murray, Tomey, Manny Ramirez, Paul Sorrento,
Sorrento,
and
Sally
Sandy
Alomar.
Alomar. Now that
Yeah.
is an entire lineup virtually of all-stars. When did
Yes.
you guys know we were some bad boys?
To be honest, right before we got into the new stadium in '93, I knew something was brewing, and we just needed some pieces because we had some young guys. We end up going in '93. I think we end up going whatever 81 and 80 and whatever that we kind of they went from losing 100 games before I got there to where we started to get that balance of wins and losses equal. And then once '94 hits, we put a couple pieces together by getting Eddie Murray, Horo Hershiser, um, um, Dennis Martinez, because we had the core of hitters. Other than we threw in the piece with Eddie Murray, but we had the core of offense. We just needed some pitchers to give us a chance. And with that lineup, it showed exactly that. We just needed the pitchers just give us a chance, and we just put some runs out there.
Um, do you think that you guys had the mentality almost of a football team where you wanted to intimidate the other team? And could you in baseball?
I think with that lineup we had, it was an intimidation factor because it's almost like you tell a pitcher when he's on the mound, you can't sleep 1 through 9. That's a no longer in existence anymore in the game. You have your top of the order, and that's it in the game of baseball. Now we had Manny Ramirez hitting 7th or 8th or whatever. Him and Tomei switch when it's a righty or lefty or whatever starters, but that's what the lineup was. So just imagine those two guys hitting in your bottom of your order and not the top. That was the lineup.
Well, Manny had a brilliant start to his career in Cleveland, and then kind of took off in Boston, winning the World Series MVP, helping them break the curse, et cetera, and the whole Manny being Manny thing. Was he really that big a goofball?
Yeah, pretty much. He was just, I think it's not, well, he became the goofball, but Manny was kind of oblivious. He didn't know how good he was. Manny was just out there. He had no clue. Not say he had a clue of hitting, but outside of that, you know, he was just there. He just said, "Just put me on the game. Just put me in the game. I don't care." I still have a story where in spring training, Matty hit 3 home runs in one spring training game and did not use his own bat.
Whose bat did he use?
I think he used Tony Pena's. I think it was Sorrento's, and I think Carlos or somebody. He just grabbed the bat. Man, he just went there and just grabbed the bat out the rack. He didn't care whose it was, and boom, he hit a home run.
We had Albert Belle on this show within the last
nice.
couple of years.
Okay,
and he was great. He was great. He
Yeah.
didn't run from anything. But you guys, he got to Cleveland in the big leagues. He was sent up and down a little bit before you got there, but you guys kind of grew up together.
Yes.
Was he a challenge as a teammate, or was too much made of that?
As a teammate?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, he was great. He was great as a teammate. I mean, I got a whole lot of stories about Albert, but as a teammate, he was one of those guys. It's almost like you just let him be. You let him be. He was one of the guys. If you would just let Albert sit in his locker, you don't mess with him. He does his thing. You won't even hear from Albert. But the only time people hear from him when they come to his locker and ask him about the crossword puzzle, Everybody came to his locker to try to get the answers from the crossword puzzle because Albert was some type of little Einstein genius or whatever it was with that USA Today. Every day they had that crossword puzzle. They came to Albert to get the answers.
When you set the air conditioning in your house, do you think of him often?
Always. Always.
So
Because
that's
the thing about it is, people were afraid of Albert's demeanor,
Mhm.
and I wasn't. So when something went down, they came to me. Kenny, go to Albert. Kenny, talk to Albert. And myself and a coach, rest in peace, Davey Nelson, was there. And either the coaches, if it's something to do with the coach, they'll go to Davey Nelson to go to Albert. And if it's something to do with the players' situation, they'll go to Kenny to go to Albert. So it was kind of one of those things. But Albert was just his own man. He was his own person. Like I said, if you left him alone, he was fine. But once you pluck a bear in the back of the head, he gonna come after you. And that's what Albert was. But that air conditioner, Albert just somehow he liked things cold. And the rest of the team didn't. So I mean, if you want me to understand the story, it is true. I mean, because some of the clubhouse guys would say, "Hey, Kenny, Albert turned the air conditioner down to 40 degrees and it's cold in the clubhouse." So Albert was a smart guy. He was a smart guy. Every at bat, he used to go up to his locker and sign his cards, everything that the pitcher did to him, what he did. It was he had a whole, those 5x7 cue cards in his locker in a big old box. And every pitcher and every team, he has what they did to him and what they did to I think it's either the batter before him. So he has an idea. It's almost the Matrix before the Matrix or whatever. So, the data stuff. So he did that. So every time he goes up to his locker, he hits, and then he'll go up and he has to do that. And then if it's warm in there, he'll turn it down to cold. So he kept doing that every time he went up because they kept telling me, Kenny, Albert turned it down. So I go up there and turn it back down and turn it up to 75. And then after he'd do it, he'd get mad and he'd turn it back down. So he did it again. So I think after the third time I did it, I think he got pissed. So he wanted to make sure the clubhouse stayed cold. And the only way you could do that is this one thermostat that was in the locker room. So Albert put it the way he wanted to put it, and it was a wrap.
Did he beat the shit out of that thing?
I don't know what Albert's swing. He probably did it once. He probably took one swing.
So he literally knocked the thermostat off the wall so nobody could change it.
It went through the wall. So you hit it, it went through the wall. So I don't know exactly what he did, but what the clubhouse said, guys said he took the bat and hit it, and it was a big old giant hole. And then the next 3 or 4 days, because they were trying to get it fixed, we were all in the Cleveland cold gear in the locker room, and guys were going into the training room and the other rooms to change because it was so freaking cold in there. It was pretty cool. I liked it.
Did he know that you were the one that kept changing it back to 70?
He probably did. Yeah, he knows because I was the only one that stood up to him. I mean, I stood up to all the guys. I don't care. Barry, Sammy, Frank, I don't care. I'm coming at you. If you do something that's a little not team oriented, I had something to say. I got in your face.
Is that the Chicago from you?
Huh?
Is that the Chicago kid from you to stand up to people?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're doing something that's not right, I have to say something. And that was just me.
All right, more with Kenny Lofton coming your way. But first, a quick reminder, it is a new year. We're all about setting goals and actually hitting them this time around. So what you fuel your body with really matters. And that's why I want to talk to you about today's sponsor. It is Huel, spelled Huel. Now, Huel is perfectly balanced as a meal. It takes the guesswork out of healthy eating. There's no prep or cooking. Just grab a Huel for your most inconvenient meals. And it tastes amazing. It's kind of like a milkshake. You can choose from chocolate or vanilla, both low in sugar, and it's budget friendly with high protein meals under $5. Now, one of my favorites is this one. It is the Black Edition, ready to drink. It's 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, all in one handy dandy bottle. So join the community of Hooligans with this exclusive offer for new customers. That is 15% off, plus a free gift if you use the code ROSE15 at Huel.com. That is 15% plus a free gift for new customers with the code ROSE15 at Huel.com. Start your year strong, unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in mere minutes so you can focus on what really matters. Grab a sip. So you went from Chicago to Tucson, Arizona.
I know, yeah.
You played for Lute Olson. You went there on a hoop scholarship.
Yeah, I did.
Was baseball even in your thought process when you got out to Tucson?
It was. I thought about baseball because the reason why, because I was playing both sports, and one sport did full scholarships, and the other sport didn't do full scholarships.
Mhm.
So where I grew up at, I couldn't afford to do any kind of partial, whatever. I needed strictly full because I grew up on food stamps. So for me to be able to go to college, and my grandmother wanted me to go to college, I had to go on a full scholarship. And Arizona offered me that full basketball scholarship with the opportunity, if baseball kind of worked out, was there, I was going to play it. But once I got to college, I figured out it was tough. It was, going to classes and practice and study hall tables. And it was a lot, and trying to do that. And I felt like after basketball season was over, I wanted a break. I mean, this was a lot. And baseball was, again, you still had basketball stuff you had to do during that time. And I knew I was there on a basketball scholarship. So I had to pretty much do what was necessary for basketball. And that was it at that point. Until after my junior year, I felt like my grades and everything was where it needed to be. I asked the coach, "Can I go work out with the baseball team?" And he called Jerry Kendall and said, "Can he come and work out?" And he said, "Yeah, he can come out and work out." And some scouts were there, and they saw me.
So you didn't play at all in college till your junior year?
Yeah, I had one official at bat, college baseball. Yes.
That's in your entire time in Tucson?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you got drafted based on one at bat and some workouts?
Well, I played some workouts, and they had what they called the JV squad,
Mhm.
and you did some games and stuff on grade. It wasn't nothing official, but it was a JV workout. And one scout named Clark Chris, still a buddy of mine's, he said, "Dude, this guy's got some tools," and he begged the Houston Astros, and they was trying to push away from it, but he begged them and to sign me, and yeah.
Before that, I imagine you had NBA dreams, right?
Yeah, I did until the squad that I was playing against. I mean, playing with Sean Elliott, Tom Tolbert, Steve Kerr, Judd Bushler, jeez, Sean Ruggs.
Mhm.
I always said, I say it all the time, Tom Tolbert, we call him the black hole. Once you throw it in there, you never got it back. So,
Hey, by the way, that's true in the broadcasting world. I used to work with him as an analyst. I'd give it to him and
oh,
never get it
jeez.
back.
So you know what I'm talking about then with Tommy T. We call him Tommy T. So, but yeah, so my aspirations of becoming an NBA player was very tough
Yeah.
because, again, you can only disperse the ball so much. And yeah, and I felt like baseball was my opportunity to show my individual talents.
Mhm.
And once I got that opportunity, I took advantage of it. And, it was a struggle at first, but I knew my athleticism, knowing how I am as an individual. If you tell me I can't, I'm gonna show you that I can. And that's my mindset that I did throughout pretty much my whole life.
I do want to get back to that, but that 88 team that you were on of Lute Olson's that made it all the way to the Final Four. I think you guys beat Carolina in the West Regional Final.
Yes.
And then you lost to Oklahoma, who eventually lost to Danny Manning and the Miracles.
Yeah, oh my goodness, that was something special to see Danny Manny doing that that March Madness run.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was
He went off. He went off. I mean, you gotta give him credit. Danny Manny went off.
he was a one-man team. I mean,
Yeah, he
Milt
was.
Newton
He
was
went off.
on
He
that
just
team,
yeah.
one of the Barry kids, but it was Danny and the Miracles. Was that 88 team, was that the most fun you've had playing sports? Because you're young kids all coming together, a lot of you guys in the same recruiting class, the whole bit.
Yeah, we were. It was pretty fun, and we made the best of it again. And we was in Tucson. Tucson was just a college town. It was nothing else to do out there. We made fun of the. I mean, we had fun in the '88 time, and we were the star of the town. We were the star. We were the big stars at that point, and we ended up doing a song in '88. My good friend and everybody's friend Harvey Mason, who's the head of the CEO of the Grammys right now. He made a song back then, and we ran with it. It's called "Wild About the Cats." Yeah.
Wait a second. So you made a song kind of like
No,
the
Harvey
Chicago.
Mason made the song, but the team, it was for the team. And we end up playing it as our theme song.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, it was our theme song because Harvey Mason his dad was famous dumb producer back in the day with George Benson, and Harvey grew up in music, and he ended up making this song called "Wild About the Cats." It's on the internet. We had a video and everything. Oh my goodness, it was something special.
Wait, so you didn't have to sing kind of like the Chicago Bears of 85?
Kinda, yeah. We had our little lines, yes.
Oh.
Because my part of was Ellie is here. It's time to play. And then Tom Tober and then Elliot said, they want me in the NBA. Yeah. Yeah. It was
Sounds creative.
Yeah, it was. But
I'm
Harvey
on board.
Mason is something. He's a special talent in the music world. Oh my goodness.
Did you ever have a shooting contest against Sean Elliott and Steve Kerr?
Uh no.
Yeah.
I know my limitations, bro. Uh-uh. I know my limitations. That's one place I did not go. I can guard him, but Steve was something about Steve, and it's almost like if you watch Steph Curry on the court right now, that was Steve Kerr, but a little bit slower.
Mm-hmm.
Steve was the smartest guy to learn how to get away from his defenders. He wasn't fast, but he was smart.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to come off the screen, move and get in a position to where he get himself open. Oh, up in one-on-one on the court with him having the ball, I got him. But once he does this little juke to get me off the screen, I'm somewhere. I fell over here somewhere, and he's over there shooting the three. So he was that kind of player. And I'm watching Steph Curry. I'm like, dude, that's what Steve Curry used to do. He find a way to move, and he see the defender. He'll move you forward, step you to the side, and then step back and get the ball, and it's off. So yeah.
I always loved it when he would hit a shot and the PA announcer would go, Steve
Oh,
Kerr, and the whole crowd would
oh,
go, Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr.
That was great.
Yeah, it was pretty something special in Tucson. Yeah.
When so eventually you start making your way through the minor leagues, and I know just like a lot of kids, the first few
Okay.
years are tough, and then you started to make a ton of progress later
Mhm.
on in Houston in their farm system.
Yes. Yes.
How'd you find out you got traded to Cleveland, and what was your reaction?
I was let me see. I had just got back from winter ball, and I got a call, and they said, "You've been traded." I'm like, "What?" They said, "You've been traded." So when they told me where, and I'm like, "Well, the only equal part of this, you're going from one last place team to another last place team." So I'm like, "Okay, sure. I just want to play." And I said, "I'm glad someone want me." But the funniest thing about this is when I was in the minor leagues, I played in AAA, and there's a light behind me. I'm trying to get away from this light behind me. It's
Yeah, you're
off the
good.
glare. Okay, yeah. And it was a coach that was coaching for the AAA Cleveland Indians organization. And it was Charlie Manuel. I swear, this is a story I will never forget. I was in AAA and I was killing Colorado. It was Colorado Springs Indians. I'm killing them, right? All the time. And then Charlie Manuel, I'm coming to the batter's box. And he said, hey, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get you, kid. What? I'm going to get you over here. You coming over with me. I'm like, huh? Yeah, you going to get over here. And then all of a sudden, a year later, I got traded. And then Charlie said that he told them, he said, this is the kid you guys need to find a way to get. Charlie told them. And next thing I know, I'm in the Cleveland Indians organization. He kept telling me, I'm going to get you, kid. I'm going to get you.
That's
Yeah,
amazing. So he's
I
the reason
know.
that you made this monumental leap to a new organization and got the shot you did.
Well, Charlie saw me play and he kept saying, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. And he wasn't lying. They made it happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, yeah.
As we talked about, it exploded in '94 with that team, new ballpark. You guys all made the All-Star team in Pittsburgh that year. Was that your, like, whole I've made it moment?
No, I think you know what? I think my rookie year, I felt like I figured it out my rookie year. And I didn't win the rookie of the year, but I felt I should have. But that year put a drive behind me that's saying, hey, I didn't get my due, but I'm gonna show you guys that this is the person you guys should have picked. And I'm just gonna do what I gotta do to show people that I want to be what's the word? I just
You wanted to be great.
well, not so much great, but I wanted people to look at me and say, dang, that dude is good. You know, that's what my mindset was like, dude, I want them to look at me that way. Because you had a role to play, and me being the leadoff hitter, center field guy, I wanted to be the best at that position. That was my mindset because, again, they kept saying there was no good leadoff hitters in the game, and we need a leadoff hitter, and this is not what people want to do. People don't want to lead off because they felt like it was a lot of work to it. So a lot of people didn't want to lead off. But I took that challenge and I said, okay, let's do it. Tell me what I need to do. Tell me the things I need to do to prepare. Tell me the things I need to do to become a great leadoff hitter, and that's what I'm going to do.
Well, it's one thing to have the accolades from the media and the fans. It's another to have it from the people you compete against. Were there great leadoff men or base stealers who eventually recognized your ability and said something to you early in your career where you're like, boy, that's awesome?
Well, one guy said something to me early was Otis Nixon. Otis Nixon said, dude, you something else, man. That's how he said it. He said, man, you something else. You know, so he was a guy that, like I said, he just told me, and I was trying to see guys and, talk to guys or whatever, but no one really, approached me other than I approached Ricky Henderson, Tim Raines, but at one point Otis said, yeah, you something else, man. So when he said that to me, I'm like, wow, it must be something for another player to say that to you.
Well, it takes some stones, though, to go up to Ricky Henderson and to Tim Raines. Ricky got in the league in '79 and Tim Raines in the early '80s. And by the mid-'90s, they are well on their way to Cooperstown. What'd you say to
Yeah,
them?
they were. Yeah, they were. They were. I saw both of them. I played against both of them later in my career. And what I felt good about doing with Ricky, I took the American League stolen base title from Ricky. Even though he was older, I felt like I accomplished something. I took the stolen base title away from Ricky, even though Ricky had 900,000 stolen bases. But I felt like I accomplished that feat, even though he was older. But Ricky felt like he was still the best. I swear he did. At the age, how old he was when he was toward that time, maybe he was 50. I don't know, but Ricky felt like he was the best base stealer ever, and that's the mindset. And I like that mindset from him. I like that.
So what did he say to you?
He didn't say much. Ricky don't again. Ricky don't say much. Ricky didn't say much, but Ricky's like, "Okay, kid, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing," and that's all he said. That's all he said. Because that's Ricky. I mean, everybody understood Ricky was Ricky.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was. He was sad that we just lost him.
Yeah,
Right before his,
that kind of hit me kind of tough, because that was one guy that showed me. Well, I almost looked at him as he was a stolen base threat, but he was also a home run threat
Mhm.
as a leadoff. And I'm like, I can't hit home runs, man. I like to bunt. So just watching him, and then you try to emulate certain guys, but I couldn't emulate Ricky. I just couldn't.
Yeah, but you played with a style and a flair too. You used to flip the bat at home plate when you'd walk. You'd undo your gloves like before you got out of the batter's box. Ricky would do the major pop in the collar. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And
yeah.
when he'd hit a home run, he would
Oh
run
my
about
goodness, he went toward
way
the
out.
dugout, dang there.
Yeah,
You thought he was going back into the dugout when he hit a home run.
right.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
But the style was part of your game too.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I just wanted to feel like I wanted to be me. I want to have my own little flair.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the one who started all this music stuff. People don't know that. I started all this music. We started the batting practice tapes, with the music and all that. I was the one that Cleveland started all that. They allowed us to do that, and then everyone else started to do it.
So are you saying that stadiums were silent before you brought this to Cleveland's attention during BP?
They didn't have this going on.
So how'd you get this done?
Cleveland, come on, they let us do 95 team. Well, they let us do whatever we wanted to do. 94, we were something else over there, boy. It was something. It was oh my goodness. We had so many personalities over there, and poor Mike Hargrove. I felt so sorry for him
Why?
because he had to deal with the craziness. we had some we had some craziness going on. We had guys all over the place, and Hargrove coming in the locker room sometimes and say, "Oh, geez," and he just walk out. Because we got Manny and Tavares and fighting, and then you got Kirby and Espinosa fighting in this corner over here. It's like it was just like the bad news bears in the clubhouse.
Guys were literally fighting?
Yeah, but not in a bad way. But you know how you'll say you're a Joan on a guy or you're a bag on a guy, and then he'll go attack you. And there, I mean, it was. But then, let me tell you something. Once the game started at 7, 6:15, 6:20, silent. Silent. It's like they do all that fighting and messing around and whatever, and then all of a sudden, silent. Until I'll say, what time did I usually go out there? Around 6:40. I crank the music up, and I say, guys, let's go. It go from quiet to me crazy, turn the music up and getting prepared, and then we go out. Yeah, that's kind of how it was. But again, because what I mean fighting means friendly tussling or
Yeah.
doing something.
Yeah, screwing
It
around
was
almost
just
like it's a fraternity house.
yes, exactly. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
But then in between the lines, guys were focused. It was pretty cool.
It was better than pretty cool. It was great.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
first 23 years of my life, Cleveland never finished higher than third in the division.
Oh,
And
wow.
then you guys exploded into this amazing run. And did you think after the 95 World Series, you were like, this is just the start? We're going to be back so many times.
Yeah. I felt we had a dynasty for years, but then the organizations, I think, to be honest, I think they overthunk it. The situation where I don't like when teams get to a certain level and then they minus pieces. You need to add pieces. You don't minus. you try to improve from that point, and then you try to. It's like you build off of the level you got to. We got to the World Series in '95. We should have won the World Series, but from that point, add on, don't subtract.
Yeah.
Just figure out your little things that you needed to get over the top. Just add it. But they start subtracting and trying to be too smart, I guess. I don't know.
You got a little cute.
Yeah,
Traded
there you go. Yeah.
traded Eddie Murray back to Baltimore. Albert Belle left after the 96 season, signed the richest contract at the time in baseball. And then you were headed to your walk year, and they did a preemptive strike with Atlanta, and they traded you for Dave Justice and Marquise Grissom because I think they were afraid that you would.
You was going to walk too. But again, they had no clue. They didn't even come to me. Say, Kenny, what's going on, dude? Albert's gone. Are you going to stay? I had no clue. Come to me and say, Kenny, hey, what do you want? You know what? I wanted to stay in Cleveland. I did. But again, it wasn't up to me. I had no clue. It's like sometimes they try to be too smart.
So you would have stayed?
Yeah, they never asked. They've never talked to me at all.
They never put an offer on the table?
Nothing. No, nothing.
Were you crushed when you got traded?
I was crushed, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I felt like this organization, Cleveland, put me on the map. And I started to beloved the city of Cleveland. I love that city. And I was trying to do whatever I can to help boost this city up. I did, and when it did that, and it was tough.
You ended up returning twice.
Yeah.
When you came back, let's say the last time when you got traded back from Texas to Cleveland for that run in 2007.
Yeah.
As now a 40-year-old man, what was it like when you stepped back into the stadium and put an Indians uniform on for the first time?
Well, it was because I've been back with maybe different teams or the All-Star game, but it was very emotional for me to come back to see how the fans and everyone took to me at that time. So, and I just felt like even though I'm older, I was still putting up the numbers. I still did my job as a leadoff hitter to help the team. The first at bat, boom, I'm like, oh, here we go. And they're like, oh, he's back. So in that game, I hit another. I mean, I'll try to explain to people, I just do what I do. I don't try to do anything different. So when I came up, I think that game, I had a great game. And people were like, yes, he's back. I'm like, yes, I am. I ain't changed. I'm just a little older. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the Hall of Fame stuff. When Ichiro went in this week, your reaction was?
Yes. Thank you. They're letting the little guys in again. When he got in, I'm like, okay, Ichiro got in. Now he should have been unanimous, but again, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So when you look at his numbers, first ballot, you put those numbers in first ballot up there. Then I said, okay, my numbers are not that high up there as the media, the whatever you call it, the writers want to look at. You can drop my numbers down. Okay, that's fine if you want to look at it that way. But again, he's in the Hall of Fame first. I got off the ballot, so 10 years, 13, I don't know how many years it's been, 13 since I've been off, almost 12 years since I've been off the ballot. So, okay, so take his first year, and then they let people drop it down to how the stats supposed to be, and then eventually they'll get in. So I'm like, okay, after all these years, hopefully because Ichiro is now in, eventually it should be my time. But yeah, it was tough getting off the ballot the first time just with the numbers. But if you look at the class that I came out of in 2013, you know why I didn't get no love, so to speak. Because again, they had to make sure certain other guys stayed on the Hall of Fame ballot. I just wanted to be one of those guys to look at year after year after year. But that class of 2013, so many guys were suspect, if that's the right way. And the Writers Association made sure they stayed on the ballot. And I was kind of like the odd man out.
Yeah, so nobody in 2013 was voted in by the Baseball Writers of America. But the guys who were on the list, the top 6 vote getters that year, were Biggio, Jack Morris, Bagwell, Piazza, Raines, Lee Smith. All eventually got in the Hall. Now, the way that you can get in is through the Contemporary Committee, I believe is what it's called these days. And there's only 8 people that can be put on that ballot this coming December.
Yeah, no, that's where it gets tough for me, because they changed the criteria in 2022. When Fred McGriff got in, that was the first time they had changed the Veterans Committee to the Contemporary type of committee. And they put 8, they selected, whoever selected, I don't know how they do it, but they selected 8 guys. And then Fred McGriff was the only one came out of that selection. So when I say it's tough for me, because now you got to figure out, and a lot of those guys didn't get more than 3 votes or whatever, less than 3 votes or 4 votes. So you're going to tell me, and it only happens every 3 years now.
Right.
So I'm saying is that just say those guys, just say McGriff was one of the 8, and I'm not exactly sure all the numbers, so don't quote me, is that just say, I'll just use this for numbers understanding. Just say McGriff was one of the 8. McGriff got on, he got his 12 votes, and the other guys didn't get the 12 votes. So just say you have 7 other guys. So now every 3 years, are you going to put those same 7 guys on this contemporary list, to where if you only got, so it's just like almost like the writers one, right? If you don't get so many votes, you're off the ballot for whatever how many years. Is that the same thing as happening with the contemporary, or do the guys who got 1 vote or no votes keep doing it every 3 years? So that means that myself and other guys who were not on that list, we can probably never be on that list.
Yeah. For people that aren't familiar with it, because it is a different thing, it's the Contemporary Baseball Era Players Ballot. So there are 16 votes, I believe. 12 are needed for election. So in 2022, Fred McGriff got all 16 votes. So he was unanimously voted in. Next on the list was Don Mattingly. He only received 8 of the 16 votes. Then it went Schilling, Dale Murphy, Albert Belle, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Rafael Palmeiro. Those are some amazing names in the history of the sport, no matter where you sit on everything that came along with it. But that's the sort of competition that you might be dealing with come December of 2025. Do you think that part of the reason you may have fallen off the ballot was you spent half of your career in Cleveland, but then you didn't play more than 130 games with any other team in baseball? You were kind of a hired gun year to year, and in some cases, trade deadline to trade deadline. Do you think that worked against you in some people's opinion?
See, that's the problem. It works against me maybe because of the writers, but not the players. And see, that's the thing. That's what you try to figure out. The Hall of Fame is about numbers. And that's the problem that if people say that, that's why I feel like it's wrong, because it's about numbers. So if you compare my numbers to whatever other guys who've been in the Hall of Fame, it don't say well, he played for this team, he played for that team. It doesn't say. It says, and I talked to Barry Larkin. He said, dude, it's a no-brainer. You should be in the Hall of Fame because he said, during the era you played in, your position, you were dominant. So if that's, I don't know what the criteria is. Is it you played on one team? It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's the numbers. So I try to figure out what people are talking about. And then you talk about, because WAR didn't come out until 2014, I believe. They didn't start talking about that. And then they see my WAR. Okay, so you see my WAR is one of the highest outfielders out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't a power hitter. So, but then you take my WAR and say, okay, let's forget about his WAR. Why? That's the data thing people talk about. So here it is. You know, you don't talk about I had 17 years, I was in the playoffs 11 times. I don't care what team I was with, I was in the playoff. I'm gonna say it, the Cubs and the Giants would not went to the World Series and won for me. I put that team, helped put that team to another level. They both at that time didn't have a leadoff hitter. You want to talk about leadoff hitters not important? Both teams added a leadoff hitter. If you look at the time before I got to both of those teams, I put my piece to the puzzle that they didn't have. Mm-hmm. That's how I look at it. When I get traded, I'm putting my pieces, because again, people don't look at a leadoff hitter until the playoff. They don't care about it. They don't want to pay a leadoff hitter. But when the playoff comes, we need this guy to get on base, raise havoc, to get us to that next level. And I felt I did that on both of those teams. And with the Cleveland, I just did what I did on the field because again, leadoff hitters are they're almost instinct anymore now. Very rare. The true leadoff hitter is very rare. Taking pitches, working the count, all of that. Sometimes I got to the plate telling myself, I'm not going to swing to 2 strikes. So that mindset don't happen anymore. If I would have looked at this game as me being selfish, I would have did like Nomar Garcia-Parra. That thing looked good, that first pitch, he hacking. Nomar, and when you threw that ball in the zone, he was hacking. And he was lacing some things, lacing it. Because again, he swung what I call Nomar early and often. Mm-hmm. And that's what you got to do to put some numbers up. You put numbers by swinging early and often. And Nomar swung it nice, very early. So I could have did that as well. I could have stole all kind of bases all the time. But again, I was doing it in the team concept. But the team concept doesn't matter.
Well, listen, we certainly wish you luck with all that. And we know that obviously there's limited spots available in that, but you deserve to be certainly considered. And when people do their homework in Cooperstown, so I know it weighs heavily on you. I mean, you think about it. I can tell. I can see it in your face. You think about it a lot, don't you?
I do, because, they talk about baseball is all about, home runs. And that makes it sad for me, because I'm like, what about the rest of the game? Game ain't just about somebody hitting the ball at the ballpark. But that's how they look at it now. You don't have a category, say, if you have 600 stolen bases, you're in the Hall of Fame. They don't have that. You have to have home runs or strikeouts or the 3,000 hits.
Right.
What about the guy who's doing all the intangibles in the game to help this game what it is? It's funny, this is a tagline, but bringing it to this thing now I'm working on with Ruben Amaro's Sluggball. Mm-hmm. That's showing other parts of the game that's being left out.
Right.
Putting the ball in play and hitting the position to try to help the team. That's a team game. The other one is not a team game. You're an individual trying to hit a home run or
Well,
strike out
I,
now.
I will give you. I'll push back a little bit on this. I think they've
Okay.
changed the rules in the last couple of years. The enlarged bases, the number of times you can step off,
Mm-hmm.
the banning the shift, etc., so that more athleticism can be shown through. I think if you were to be playing today, if you started your career in 2025, I think you would be valued significantly differently than you were at the end of your career.
A little bit. I don't think, yes, value a little bit because again, you're right. They change, they changing the game because the offense is not there.
Right.
You know,
But
they're changing it because they're this home run strikeout. I think it's starting to take its toll.
how many steals could you get today with the rules with the limited step offs?
Easy 100. Easy. Because I get on base. A lot of people didn't get on base. You have to get on base to steal. You can't steal first base. And that's what people don't get. And that's what I enjoyed to do. I enjoyed it.
In the beginning of your career, 93, 408 on base, 94, 412, 97, 409, 405, and 99. Like that's elite stuff. 372 career on base. So yeah, I think 100 could have been in your world, no problem. That's my guess.
I mean, yeah. I mean, again, see, people don't understand. I stole those bases when they started to do the slice step. They
Mhm.
didn't do the big Satchel Paige leg kick like when Ricky and Vince Coleman and Otis.
Now, come on,
Everybody was.
Ricky was old. He didn't go against Satchel Paige. Now, don't do him dirty like
I
that.
don't know. He was pretty close. So, but I'm just saying that type of leg kick, high leg kick, what they were doing. Then I come up and everybody's doing the Pedro slice step, the quick pitch slice step when I'm on base. But I had to make an adjustment into that and still work on stealing during that phase of the game. And I still made it work. But people don't look at things like that.
All right, I got one or two more Cleveland things for you, and I'm going to let you
Okay.
go hit the golf ball because I know you like that. You must play fast too, don't you? You play fast?
I don't take my time. It's no time to be thinking about all that. No, you just get up there and you hit.
Okay.
Not that fast, but not that slow.
Do more
Yeah.
people bring up the fact that you scored on a pass ball in the 95 ALCS from second base against Randy Johnson, or do they want to talk to you about the catch against BJ Surhoff?
Oh, yeah, that's one of the two. Yeah. Probably the pass ball because it was more exciting and it was during that playoff time. And it's funny how you said that. I ended up talking to Steve Ballmer one time and he was kind of hot with me. He said, I kind of don't like you. I'm like, why? He said 95 season. I'm like, oh no, my bad. Randy Johnson. And so I'm like, my bad, Bomber. My bad, Steve. Yeah, because he's from Seattle and he was not happy with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You only pissed off the richest owner in pro sports. It's not a big
I
deal. You can forget your
know.
you can forget your Clippers floor seats now, buddy.
I know, jeez.
That's out. That's out. Um,
No, I'm like, wow. He said, oh, I know you. I'm like, oh man, my bad.
was the BJ Surhoff catch the best one? That had to be the best one of your career.
No,
No?
no. I think it was one against Cal Ripken.
Really?
Yeah. It was in Baltimore. I think I was playing right center. Well, no, a little bit off to the shade of the center field, and he hit a bullet to left center. And I end up running full speed and jumping and catching the ball over the wall. And I still think I had a bruise on my hip to where I caught it running full speed and hit the wall, catching the ball over the wall. Yeah, and people don't talk about that because they don't show that as much. But I think the BJ Sherhoff, because of how far I had to go up to get it, that was the one. But I think the hardest one was against Cal Ripkins in Baltimore.
I don't know if they made a bobblehead or a figurine out of the Cal Ripken catch, but
No, they did.
I
They
had the
didn't.
one against BJ Surhoff where your back is to home plate. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
that's some
yeah.
crazy stuff.
I had plenty. I had about 15 of them over the wall, but they only show a couple of them. If you look back at all the highlights of all my catches over the wall, it's a lot. I saved one in Yankee Stadium. Bartolo Colon was throwing a no-hitter in the eighth, and I end up catching one over the wall, but he ended up losing it, I think, the next inning or whatever. But yeah, I saved the home run doing a no-hit stretch.
That dude had a rubber arm. Speaking of guys that could pitch into their
Wow.
40s.
Bartolo.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, this is one of them, yeah.
Oh, Jorge Posada. Okay.
There it is.
Yeah.
Take that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jorge.
Yeah. I'm sure the fans out there.
Bartolo was something special, boy. Woo.
Yeah.
I mean, we had an extra inning game. He was 10th inning. He threw like 101 or something in the last pitch or something in the 10th inning. It was something, yeah. It was pretty good. Mm-hmm. But I had a few of them, man. I had a few catches that people don't really talk about. Yeah, I had Angel Stadium, Tim Salmon. So it was funny. George Brett said it because he got in the Hall of Fame, and then when he had his ceremony in Kansas City about the Hall of Fame, he had a speech, and he said, "Yeah, I would have got my 500 home runs sooner if it wasn't with that damn guy in the dugout, Kenny Lofton." So I'm like, my bad. He would have had his 500. I think I got like 3 or 4 of them off of him. I'm like, I'm sorry, Brett. My bad.
Yeah, no, don't worry. He was just fine. I think he made it.
Oh, yeah, he did. But
he was all right. All right, so real quickly, tell me about Sluggball, what we got going on, because you mentioned that it's the combination of softball and baseball and situational hitting, which was something that you loved, right?
Well, yeah, but it was it's baseball. You got baseballs, and you're trying to show this like a 4-on-4, and you're situational hitting. You got a competition going against 4-on-4 or 5-on-5, however you want to do it, and you guys compete for money to see who can be the best situational hitter. You know, putting the ball in play, putting it where you're supposed to put. You get targets. You go for the targets. It's almost like one of those all-star football thing competitions. And you put it together, but you're starting with, right now we're going to start with just teams sign up, because you got the high school kids and the college kids where they can still play. But everybody can't hit the home run anymore. But everybody knows how to make contact and put the ball in play and put it in different spots. So we just set up this thing to where it's just a cool competition. You know, you get the camaraderie together and you just compete against other teams and see who's good with the bat. Then eventually we're going to start from, we got high school to college. And I think eventually we're going to starting some ex-pros. I might even go out there. Put me a team together. Oh, I still can work the bat now.
Okay.
I still can work the bat.
As long as we don't, which leg is it that's bad? The left
leg?
Oh,
we don't have to run.
Yeah, I don't have to run. We don't have to run.
Yeah, that's good. I don't have to run.
Okay.
You know, so nobody has to run. You can be older. You don't have to run. Everybody likes to hit, and here you go. You can hit.
I'll finish it up with this. Can you still dunk?
No. Like I said, that right leg don't act right. No, I wish. I did it a few. Well, probably the last time I probably dunked was probably 2009, maybe.
So 42.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I was playing pretty good. But then it just wore out. The knee just kept. Over the year, you kept going and going and going, and eventually it just took its toll.
Yeah.
I was playing basketball from all. I mean, I played basketball throughout my whole pro career.
Okay, I see you, little Kenny.
Oh, that was just a little one. This is the one. Wow, come on now. Yes, I can. Yes, and watch Sherman and Douglas. I'm like, dude, don't do it.
Oh, Sherm and
don't do it.
Hey, Ronnie Cycli wanted no part of that either. You saw Ronnie Cycli trailing the play.
You know what? Watch this one. Come on now. Okay, you got some. They got some highlights up there. Look at Mookie Blaylock. That was in the Final Four, baby.
Yeah.
There's Tom Tolbert. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up there. Yeah, there he is.
Oh God, I love seeing these highlights, huh? That's against Glenn Rice in Michigan.
Yeah, in Michigan. Yeah, I played against some guys. Pooh Richardson. I played against all Gary Payton.
Pooh Richardson from UCLA.
Yeah, Gary Payton. I played against all those guys. Kevin Johnson.
Oh, wait a second. So
Point guard.
you and GP?
We were talking trash. Oh, yes. He was younger than me, but this dude talked trash early.
Yeah.
He talked early in his career, and you knew it.
I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about you two defending one another. That's an
No,
all-timer,
I mean,
right?
he was. I'm trying to think. He didn't want no part of me because the thing about it was easy to guard me because I was, I wasn't the man. You know what I mean? So it was easy to guard me because Sean Elliott, Steve Kerr, Tom, they were the man. So I'm this little point guard who's just dishing it off. So guarding me was pretty easy. Yeah. So I'm on. Yeah. I didn't see the real glove guard me because I didn't have to really do much. But he knew I was on him. He knew it. I ain't messing around.
I
The
love
glove
that.
knew I wasn't the glove, but he knew I held my own.
I love that. Hey, I really appreciate your time today. This was
No
fun.
problem,
We'll
bro.
stroll down memory lane. I know that
Exactly.
we're going to be getting together at the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission coming up. I'm actually
Yes.
hosting that panel. It's you. Grover will be
okay.
there. Tomei, Charles Nagy. Might be working on a surprise or two as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll be
Nice.
looking forward to that. That's
Oh,
going to
cool.
be a good
It'd be
time.
cool, man. It'd be fun.
So we wish you the best of luck. Anything we can
Thanks a
do
lot,
to
bro.
make sure to stir some memories. And if you didn't live through the Kenny Lofton era, thank God for YouTube. Go check out his clips because it is a highlight reel on both sides of the ball that is certainly Cooperstown worthy. So appreciate your time today. Shout out to our producer Alex Graff, does a great job on the show. For Kenny Lofton, I am Chris Rose. We'll see you next time here on the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media.